My cousin lied to my grandmother that I stole her medication to get me disowned. She said, "She's a danger." I saw it myself. I was thrown out and labeled a thief. Months later, I found the pharmacy records and a security video of my cousin filling a prescription under Grandma's name. At Christmas dinner, I slid the evidence across the table. My grandmother's hands trembled as she whispered, "I never thought I'd be accused of stealing from the one person who meant more to me than anyone else. I never thought my own family would turn their backs on me so easily." But it happened. And it started with a lie, a careful, vicious lie that came from someone I should have seen coming a mile away. I was 29 when everything fell apart. After a rough couple years, some health issues, a breakup that left me with nowhere to live, I moved in with my grandmother in Westfield, New Jersey. Her name's Jean. She practically raised me. My mom was never reliable, in and out of jobs and boyfriends, so Grandma was the one who always kept me grounded. She was strong, old school, sharp as a tack even into her 80s. When she said I could stay with her until I got back on my feet, it felt like finally having a place to breathe again. My cousin Alyssa? Different story. She's my aunt's daughter. We're the same age, but couldn't be more opposite. She always had this thing where she had to be seen as the smartest person in a room. Worked in healthcare admin, acted like it was brain surgery. Always dressed up, always talking about networking and strategic connections. She was never outright cruel. She was worse than that, subtle, calculating, polite on the surface, but I could always feel the judgment rolling off her. For the first month or two living with Grandma, things were okay. I cooked, cleaned, helped her sort her pills. She had high blood pressure and cholesterol issues, but she was managing fine. I was doing everything I could to pull my life together. I picked up a temp job, was interviewing. I was getting there. Then one day, I came home from work and everything was different. Grandma was sitting at the table, not even looking at me. Her hands were shaking a little, and she had that look, like something was broken inside her. She told me her blood pressure pills were missing. I didn't get it. I said, "Maybe we miscounted. I can go get a refill." That's when she said it. "I can't have you in the house anymore. Alyssa told me what you did." I just stood there. What did I do?" She said she saw you take my medication. She said you pocketed a bottle. That you've been doing it for weeks. I actually laughed. I didn't mean to, it just slipped out. It sounded so absurd. But she wasn't laughing. She was serious. Her eyes were red. She believed it. "Grandma," I said, "I swear to you, I've never touched your meds. I would never do that to you." She said she saw you with her own eyes, she whispered. She said you might be using. That it would explain your behavior. My behavior? "You've been off. Distracted. You're always tired." She said that's a sign. I tried to explain. I told her I'd been working late, that I was exhausted from bouncing between jobs. But she didn't want to hear it. Alyssa had been calling her regularly, checking in, she said. Worried, dropping little comments, planting ideas. And now, Grandma was convinced I was an addict stealing from her. She asked me to leave. Said she couldn't have someone dangerous in her house. I packed up that night. Left without saying goodbye to anyone. I slept in my car for 3 days before a buddy from high school let me crash on his couch. No one else in the family reached out. Not once. I texted my aunt, my uncle, even Alyssa herself. No response. They all believed her. I got a job at a gas station, pulling overnight shifts just to afford food and a motel room once in a while. The worst part? It wasn't even the sleeping in my car. It was the silence. Knowing that everyone I thought had my back had walked away without even asking for my side of the story. Months passed. I stopped reaching out. Then in early November, I got a voicemail from the CVS where Grandma fills her prescriptions. They said I was still listed as a secondary contact, and they were calling because someone had picked up 2 duplicate prescriptions under Grandma's name within the same week. I didn't know what to make of it, but something clicked in my head. I asked for the transaction history. They emailed it to me. 3 pickups in 1 month. Only one with my name on it, and that was way back in July when Grandma asked me to get her meds. The others? Signed out by Alyssa. I called the pharmacy and asked if they had any footage from recent pickups. Normally, they delete after 30 days, but one of the techs remembered me and said they had a backup from October due to a store audit. They sent me a still from the footage. There she was, Alyssa, at the counter, showing her ID, smiling like butter wouldn't melt. Signing Jean Harper on the digital pad. That's when it all made sense. She was stealing the medication. God knows for what. Maybe to resell, maybe to cover up something. But she needed a cover. And I was the perfect fall guy. She planted the lie. Slowly.
Carefully.
She manipulated Grandma, the whole family. And she got away with it. Until now. I kept quiet. I didn't call anyone. I didn't text. I waited. And then came Christmas. Every year the whole family gathers at Aunt Celia's place, Alyssa's mom. Grandma goes even now. It's a big thing. Everyone comes. I hadn't been invited, but I showed up anyway. I wore the same clothes I used to wear to interviews, clean, nothing fancy. My heart was pounding. When I walked in, the room went dead quiet. People froze mid-conversation. Alyssa looked up and gave this tight little smile like she was tolerating a bad smell. Grandma looked fragile. Not the same woman I remembered. I didn't say hello. I didn't sit down. I walked to the table, took out an envelope, and slid it across to Grandma. She looked at it like it might burn her. "What is this?"
she asked.
"Pharmacy records. And security footage. Showing Alyssa. Picking up your prescriptions. Under your name." People started murmuring. My aunt stood up, looking defensive. Alyssa laughed nervously. "This is ridiculous," she said. "This is fake. She's just bitter." "Open it," I said to Grandma.
She did.
Her hands shook as she pulled out the printouts. She stared at the names, the dates, the images. One photo, Alyssa's face, crystal clear, standing at the pharmacy counter. "She said she saw you," my uncle mumbled. Grandma whispered. "She told me. She saw you take it. With her own eyes." Alyssa's voice cracked. "This is nothing. Anyone could." "I believed you," Grandma said, still staring at me. "I threw you out. I told people you were a danger." No one said a word, and I stood there, watching the cracks spread across the perfect family image Alyssa had built for herself. The silence in the room stretched too long. It wasn't peaceful. It was tense, like everyone was waiting for someone else to speak first, to tell them what to think. Alyssa was the first to try. "This is being taken out of context," she said, her voice suddenly smooth again, like she'd flipped a switch. "Yes, I picked up Grandma's medication, but she asked me to." She didn't remember. She was confused. "I was trying to help. I wasn't confused," Grandma cut in. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it stopped Alyssa cold. "You never told me you picked them up?" Alyssa turned to her mom, trying to pivot. "Tell her, Mom. Tell them how much I've done. I'm the only one who's been here for her every week. I made sure her bills were paid. You lied to all of us," my Aunt Celia said slowly, her face pale. "Why would you lie about seeing her steal?" Alyssa's face went tight. "Because she was living here for free, doing nothing. She was mooching off Grandma and we all knew it. I wanted her to leave before something really did happen. I was trying to protect Grandma." There it was. She admitted it. Not the theft, not the setup, but that she wanted me gone. That it wasn't about safety or concern. It was about control. "She nearly ended up on the street," Celia said quietly. "She did end up on the street," I said. "I slept in my car for 3 nights. You all cut me off. You didn't even ask me what happened. You just believed her." My uncle spoke next. "We thought we were protecting Mom. Alyssa said you were unstable. She said she had proof. Did she ever show you any?" I asked. They all looked at each other. No one answered. I turned back to Grandma. "Do you remember when your pills first went missing?" Before Alyssa even said anything. She nodded. I thought I was forgetting. I kept thinking I was miscounting. "You weren't. She was already taking them." Grandma's eyes filled with tears. "I accused you of stealing from me." I told people you were an addict.
I
didn't even ask you. The room was dead quiet. Nobody was eating anymore. Forks rested cold on plates. Then Alyssa snapped. You think you're better than me? She hissed, stepping toward me. You think because you struggled and now you've got some shitty little video you're the hero? You're pathetic.
Stop, Grandma said.
Her voice broke. Stop talking. Alyssa turned to her, eyes wide. You're taking her side? After everything I'd done for you? You didn't do it for me, Grandma said. You did it to control me. Alyssa's mouth opened, but nothing came out. She looked around, at our uncle, our aunt, the cousins who used to fawn over her. No one met her eyes. Her power in the room had collapsed. All it took was the truth. She walked out, slammed the door so hard it rattled the windows. No one followed her. The rest of us sat in silence. For the first time, I didn't feel like the outsider. But I didn't feel like I'd won anything either. Later that night, after most people had left, Grandma sat down next to me on the couch. Her hands were folded tight in her lap.
I was so sure, she said.
And I was so wrong. I don't need an apology, I said. I know, but I'm giving it anyway. She paused, then added, she took money too. I found some withdrawals I didn't remember making. Small at first, then bigger.
She was using you, I said.
Grandma nodded, and I helped her do it. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I asked, do you want to find out how deep it goes? She looked at me.
Yes.
I do. I thought the worst was over after that Christmas dinner. I thought exposure would be enough. But the truth? That was only the beginning. A week later, I got a call from Grandma while I was at work. She sounded shaken. She called me, she said. Alyssa. She wants to come by the house. She said she wants to talk. Don't let her in. She said she left something here. Some personal files. Then she can ask for them through a lawyer, I told her. But I knew Alyssa. She didn't want a truce. She wanted control again. And sure enough, later that night, she showed up. Grandma didn't let her in, but she stood outside for almost 20 minutes, pounding on the door, yelling things that made the neighbors peek through their curtains. She's manipulating you. She's lying. She wants your house. She wants your money. It was all projection. All the things she'd tried to do. Finally, Grandma called the police. That calmed things for the moment. Then the bank statements started arriving. Grandma had added me to her accounts to help straighten things out, and when I sat down to look through them, I found something we hadn't noticed before. Over the past 8 months, Alyssa had been making withdrawals from Grandma's savings. Not just small ones, several thousand here and there, transferred into a checking account in her name. She was careful, spacing it out, staying under the radar. But it added up to over $18,000. When we brought it to the bank manager, they confirmed it. Someone had used online access with saved credentials from Grandma's old phone. One that Alyssa helped her set up and later upgraded for her. Grandma was stunned. I didn't even know I had online banking, she whispered. I told her she had a case. It wasn't just betrayal, it was financial abuse. But Grandma was hesitant. She's still family, she said. She's counting on you thinking that, I said. She's banking on your guilt. So we filed a report. The detective was professional, quiet, but I could see it in his face. This wasn't his first case like this. People don't realize how common this is, he told us. Family members abusing access to elderly relatives' finances. It's disgusting. The investigation started quietly. They traced the IP address used to access the accounts. Matched it to Alyssa's apartment. They found a second pharmacy in Newark where she'd filled more prescriptions under Grandma's name, likely selling them off cash under the table. And then came the subpoenaed emails. I didn't expect what we found. There were emails between Alyssa and another cousin, Brian, who we hadn't seen at Christmas. They were conspiring. She was planning to have Grandma declared mentally unfit and take over power of attorney. She was talking about getting her into a facility, selling the house, and splitting the profits. She's slipping, Alyssa wrote in one email. Won't be long before she's too confused to argue. And this was before I even moved in. That hit Grandma harder than anything else. She was waiting for me to get worse, she said. She wanted to take everything before I even died. The betrayal was deeper than I ever imagined. We handed everything to the detective. He added the emails to the case file. Alyssa was charged with elder financial abuse and fraud. But even then, she tried to play the victim. She went on social media, posting vague statuses about being betrayed by people you trust and watching family turn on you for money. She tried to get ahead of it, but the truth had already spread. Slowly, word got around. Even people who once sang her praises started distancing themselves. At a family meeting called by Grandma herself, we laid everything out. Every piece of paper, every photo, every email. People were stunned. Some apologized. Others just sat in silence. One cousin asked, "How did we miss this?" Grandma answered, "We wanted to believe the one who made us feel safest, not the one who told us the truth." That night, she changed her will. "I didn't ask for anything. I didn't want her money. I just wanted my name cleared, my dignity back." But Grandma made it clear. "You earned your place back in this family. The hard way." The court date came 6 months later. By then, Alyssa had been arrested, charged with multiple counts: elder financial abuse, prescription fraud, identity theft. She pleaded not guilty at first, all fake composure and practiced outrage. She showed up in a blazer and heels, like she was heading to a board meeting. But when the evidence started piling up, emails, pharmacy records, bank statements, even video footage, her lawyer shifted strategy fast. They offered a plea deal: reduced charges in exchange for restitution and no jail time. But Grandma wasn't having it. "She wanted me in a home," Grandma told the prosecutor. "She wanted my house, my money, my life. I want her to face the consequences." So we pushed forward. I testified. So did Grandma. And seeing her on that stand, in her wool cardigan, glasses perched on her nose, voice trembling but clear, it was one of the hardest and proudest moments of my life. Alyssa never looked at either of us during the trial. Just stared straight ahead, like if she didn't acknowledge us, none of it was real. The verdict came back: guilty on all charges. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison, with mandatory restitution. The judge was blunt. This wasn't just a crime of opportunity. It was a premeditated betrayal of someone who trusted you. She was let out in cuffs. No more smug smile. No exit speech. Just silence. But that wasn't the end. The state froze her accounts. Grandma was able to recover nearly $12,000 through insurance and restitution. Her lawyer also helped file a civil suit against Alyssa and Brian, the cousin who helped her plan the power of attorney scam. Brian tried to deny it, said Alyssa forged the emails. But the tech evidence didn't lie. He settled out of court, quietly, signed over a chunk of his savings and a car to avoid further fallout. Their reputations in the family? Destroyed. People who once praised Alyssa now crossed the street to avoid her parents. Her old boss at the healthcare firm fired her once word got out. The state revoked her healthcare admin license permanently. She can't work in that field ever again. Meanwhile, Grandma did something I didn't expect. She signed over partial ownership of the house to me. "I need someone I can trust when I'm gone," she said. "And you never asked for it. That's how I know you deserve it." I cried. I didn't want her money, or the house, or anything else. But I accepted. Not because I needed the revenge anymore. Because I needed the closure. Word spread beyond the family. Friends of the family reached out, people who'd believed Alyssa's lies. Some apologized. Others just quietly faded away. I didn't chase any of it. I had my name back. That was enough. Christmas came around again. This time at Grandma's house. I walked through the front door with my head high. People hugged me.
"Talk to me."
No whispers this time. I looked at Grandma across the room. She smiled. And in that moment, I realized I hadn't just cleared my name. I'd rebuilt something they tried to destroy. And they'll never take that from me again.